Hey folks, Matt Sharp here with another Pacific Angler Friday Fishing Report. We are filming for February 7th, so if it's nowhere near February 7th, click up here. This is a link to all our Friday Fishing Reports, and I do it every week, so we probably got something more up to date for you. This week we have survived January. It's the first full week in February, and January was a doozy. The numbers are in, and it looks like it was number 5 on the wettest January in recorded history, as well as there were 22 days of precipitation in January. But we made it, barely. Last weekend was one of the biggest blowouts we've seen across all our systems. And if you guys like pictures of blown out rivers, flooded hatcheries, as well as wrecked roads, this is going to be a good report to giggle over. I've got a bunch of information on all the systems, on how high they got and where they're going now, because that's obviously more important for us. It looks, at least on the 14-day trend, like February might be a little bit better for getting out on the water. Of course, the weatherman has to throw us a little bit of a hiccup this Friday as you guys are watching this. There's a small storm, well, small relative to last weekend, and we're going to look at how that's probably going to affect you guys going into Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday of this week. On other news, the Sports Fishing Institute has a new raffle, and this is really cool. Not only are there epic prizes in this raffle that I'm going to show you at the back end of the report, but it's also supporting a really important cause going forward this summer when we're looking at possible closures in fisheries. So make sure you check that out. I've also got another fly for you guys, and this one's from Zach. It's a great pattern leaning into February, March, and into April, where we're going to switch to start swinging more for local trout, local bull trout. It's the bull trout style pattern, and we've also done some tweaks on how we recorded or how we set up the video. We'd like your guys' feedback on that, so you may want to check that out as well. Lastly, for you saltwater guys, you've probably noticed that I've been teasing pictures of Jason doing a bunch of work on our boats. And so I'm going to sneak peek at what he's been up to. With the boat show in mind, you guys are probably thinking about ways to trick out your boat or add gadgets to your boat. And Jay's finally finished 2 installs. We now have a Ray Marine boat and a Simrad boat completely decked out with top-of-the-line electronics. And I'll show you a little bit of what's going on there if you can stick around till the end of the report. As always, guys, you want to see more reports like this, consider hitting the subscribe button, and let's get into her. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in. We are filming on Thursday night, so it's pretty close to Friday. You guys should see this about midday Friday, so all the slides are going to be sort of around that range. The weatherman gets it wrong. I apologize in advance. So here we are. We're going to start off with the Vancouver Weather and see where she's hitting, and it's been good for the last little bit and clearing up, and you can see we're getting, oh, that scrolled up for me, bear with. We're getting about 20 to 25 millimeters, so when looking at river levels, they're dropping hard right now. That should probably just level them off. I don't think it's going to spike them too hard. Obviously, when we look out to the areas where we might be fishing, Squamish Way first, they're going to have 25 to 30. I'm going to watch this really carefully, but like I said, the rivers are dropping pretty hard. So compared to last week, I don't think we're going to see half the dirty water, and I definitely still think there's going to be fishing opportunities out that way. If you guys have probably noted, here's some pictures from last week, but there was also concerns about the Upper River Road. I have reports from Tuesday and Wednesday, but I don't have anything from today, Thursday, so things might have changed. But as of Wednesday, you couldn't get past the hydro station on the Upper River, so you take that into consideration when you're planning where to go on the Squamish. Throw that out to the Chilliwack, and she's got a similar little dump of rain coming down. Well, not actually little, 30 to 40 now. That just updated on me. So unfortunately, the water's quite murky right now still from the slide. It's come down. I'll rip that up quickly. It's come down into a pretty darn nice fishing level at sort of like a 2.4, 2.3, but there's still that major concern of the slide that's silted up the water quite a bit. That said, we did see a bunch of pictures this week of guys catching fish in those conditions, and Alex hooked a really nice fish last weekend guiding just before the storm. So I definitely think it's worth going this weekend. Probably lean towards Sunday if you can choose, lean towards Monday or Tuesday if you have that opportunity. But Friday and or Saturday, there still should be fishing opportunities. Just again, go with those big presentations that we've been talking about for the last month. Let's look at Squamish water levels because they're kind of fun to look at. So you can see that massive blowout. It hit 5 meters on the graph, and that is a substantial amount of water. We expect all the rivers to be totally different. All secret spots are gone. You're gonna have to go find your own again, which is sometimes part of the fun. But it dropped down nicely, and we again saw some good fishing sort of on the 3rd and the 4th. I didn't make it out. I pulled the pin last week. You guys know I was debating it. But when I looked at what was coming, I decided to get out and not go fishing. Friday, it rose a bit. I probably could have fished a little bit, but I'm glad overall that we didn't hit the water. So what's the takeaway on that one? I definitely think it's worth getting out fishing this weekend. When you look at the temperatures too, it's going to be relatively warm. This is Chilliwack at 7 degrees. That's really comfortable fishing as long as that slide doesn't dirty up the water too much. Same thing when we look out at Squamish, 8 degrees, maybe a little bit of snow on Saturday, but nothing to concern yourselves about. Definitely worth going. Definitely a good weekend to go fishing. Just keep your eyes, as always, on the water levels. So the Raffle, the Sports Fishing Institute Raffle. The Sports Fishing Institute, as you guys know, I talk about them a lot. I think they're one of the best organizations to support if you're concerned about marine fishing opportunities. And they're doing a big raffle. It's not, you've got some time, so it's done in March. But when we look at it here, they've got a boat. They've got a $60,000 boat up for it. They've also got Islanders. They've got Yetis, a whole bunch of fun stuff, as well as trips to Langara, trips to local guides, but definitely something to check out. It's $20. Go to their website. I'll leave the links below so it's easy to access, and definitely sign up for that because you might win some cool stuff, but you also are supporting a cause that's doing some really important work leading into this season where there's a lot of things up in the air for the direction it will go. All right, on the fly front, here is Zach's fly. I'll pause that so we don't get the sound. And this fly is a bull trout pattern. It's a rendition of his Popsy Ho, but tied in bull trout / sculpin colors. So definitely pertinent going forward in the next little bit. Definitely something you'll want to check out if you're trying to load up a box for the back end of February, March, and April. But we did a little bit of a tweak. We didn't talk through this one. It was easier just to make it fast and quick and speed it up. I find with patterns that are really complicated, talking through them is important, but when they're fairly standard, going quick, I feel is the best way to view a fly video. And with that in mind, you can see at the bottom here, we threw in, I'll just fast forward through our intro, there we go. And we threw in this piece down here where you can see what we're tying and what we're doing. And that way you can just quickly fast forward if need be to where you want. So like here, I'm gonna fast forward to the flash part and see how we're putting in the flash. So it's probably gonna kill our viewer time when it comes to you guys watching these, but we wanted to make it a little easier. And so check that out. I'm gonna leave links in the description below. I'll leave a link up here as well. And that's definitely also in the written report. You can check her out. All right, last but not least, I've been teasing it for a couple weeks. Jason's been down at the docks a ton, fixing boats, making sure boats weren't in trouble because of bilge issues, because of all the snow that we had. But while he was doing that, he was also adding some toys to the boats. And we now have beautiful setups of both Raymarine and Simrad in matching boats. And with the goal to, first of all, educate ourselves on all this cool stuff, make sure our guides are seeing the fish, seeing the bait, but then also to have a test bench so we could pass that on to you guys as the customers. And over the last 6 months, Jay has gone on a deep dive when it comes to sounder information, autopilot information, and radar. We put radar on these boats as well. And so if you guys are thinking about doing an upgrade in electronics, because there's nothing more fun than electronics on a boat, talk to Jason. We also now have this stuff in the shop on display so you can play with it. If you guys are thinking about an upgrade, make sure you contact us. There's some tweaks that you're going to have to make, some things you're going to have to consider depending on your budget that's really hard to find in a manual or online or from someone who doesn't fish and is trying to sell you one of these units. Well, guys, that's everything I've got for you this week. As always, check out the blog version of this. We can go into way more detail. This week, I've got information on the Squamish, I've got information on the Harrison, we've got information on the Stave, the Chehalis, as well as the saltwater scene. So you'll want to make sure you check that out. And if you want to see more reports like this, please consider hitting the subscribe button, and we'll catch you in next week's report.